What kind of world are we leaving for our children? Can we give them a healthy planet to live on?
We are heading to the Long Live Life rally that happened during the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment that was held in Stockholm, Sweden in 1972. This was the first major global conference to focus on the environment. Governmental representatives from 113 countries, as well as over 400 non-governmental participants, attended. This documentary concentrates on the non-governmental events, such as this rally, being held by many youthful participants of the alternative gatherings that were going on all around the city of Stockholm in conjunction with the main conference.
Thing called death and how to stop it. I came here to try to figure out this thing called life and how to live it. Created there out of the earth, and the Spirit was given to us. The same Spirit that clothes the world and allows things to live. In the company that I'm traveling with, I'm very much a child, even though I'm older than many of you. In the company that I'm traveling, on my side, on both sides, represent wisdom that has been handed down for thousands of years.
Stewart Brand of the Whole Earth Catalog arranged to have 15 Native Americans come to Stockholm to represent the voice of Mother Earth. Although somewhat ignored by the main conference, their message was well received by the gathering of international youth who attended the alternative gatherings. This is Grandfather David Monongye, a Hopi elder, who is offering a prayer to the four directions at the alternative gathering of the conference.
We came here hoping that we could express our belief and our knowledge that the earth is our mother.
Vi har kommit hit för att försöka uttrycka vår tro att jorden är allas vår moder.
That it is a delicate little sphere someplace in space, and that we love it very much.
Och att det är en ömtålig liten sak i den stora rymden.
And we hope somehow that we can contribute something to the people in this conference and this part of the world that would let them understand what we feel for the earth.
Is a division which should be made only at an individual level, because you are all part of the human family just as I am, but for me you are a part of the environment. Similarly, I am for you a part of the environment.
Han skulle skämmas. Han ser så glad och pigg och trevlig.
He said when he goes and meets the moose, the elk in the woods, they don't look at him and feel ashamed that they're elks. He said they look at him and stick up their head and they're proud. He has to feel proud that he's a human being as well. So he says you mustn't feel ashamed.
He says that the monkeys are maybe the better half of the species, because the monkeys are still living naturally. Therefore they are very easily taken.
Så många intryck idag. Det är nästan till veckor vi slår. De har fått intryck och de står band och band. De har fått intryck och de står band och band. This should be based on biological and practical research. What he's giving us now is his experience, and that's going to form a basis for our experiments and our research. And so the next generation will take what we've given them as basis and then carry on like this every generation, because there are different needs.
The quality of environment, the quality of life are very much determined by the quality of ideals an individual or a nation or a society or a community cherishes, and the means at its disposal to achieve those are very much governed not so much by the material circumstances and the wealth or the money, because wealth essentially is the human work, is the resources. The resources lie in how far you can dream and in how far you can work, not necessarily in money, is to search whether there is a possibility of another level of consciousness becoming operative in human affairs.
We're trying to get in touch with nature. that this is a living earth, that everything is living, that the plants are individuals and we're individuals. And the thing we have in common is that the plants grow and we grow. The common factor is a life force. It can be, we don't discuss what this life force is because many people can give it religious connotations, and Anders, if you ask him, he laughs and says, no, it's just called life force. Some people call it prana. It's different energies. So we don't put any emphasis on that side. Our emphasis is on practical work. I mean, as we're on the earth and we've got 2 hands and 2 legs, we must be here to work everything out practically. So that we try to get practical experience and bring everything down from the theoretical down to the practical. But this is only supposed to be the basis. It's not a solution to anything. This is just a suggestion how we come close to the earth, how it's possible to get into a position where we can get to know the earth. And from there we must work it out ourselves in that place where we're living.
Dance on Mother Earth! Take off your high heels! Let's dance! Dance together!
Indianerna, vet du.
Ja, men du får sätta igång då.
Jag kan inte sjunga det där jävliga. De kallar mig att jag vrålar nu, ja.
Ja, men bra.
Ja, det blir vrål och det kan man väl inte komma till indianerna med vrål inte. Det är ju hotell.
Jag låter fåglarna på mig.
Ja. Det är givet, jag har aldrig, har jag haft namnlag så jag har aldrig namnlag.
Hi.
Did you cook this? Who's the cook?
Stick fram.
Are you eating or do we have to wait?
In June of 1972, the UN held a conference in Stockholm, Sweden. It was the conference on the human environment, and many people from around the globe came to it, including a lot of press. What you're at now is the press reception put on by the UN and the city of Stockholm. Both the press and the delegates of the conference. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you just heard was a warning signal for the remaining races which will take part outside the city hall. The warning.
May I say, this is Mr. Freer from the Salon, and I'm Walter Davis, representing Rotary International from 15,000 Rotary clubs in 149 countries in the world.
Rotary clubs.
Right.
How do they get into the environmental business?
We're trying to promote concern of Rotarians who are largely business people and professional people in various countries, and we hope to become actively engaged in preserving the planet, or helping to preserve it.
What way?
Well, I think the UN, this conference, are going to come up with some very solid recommendations, and it'll be our role, as shall we say, as citizens of the community, to see that governments implement the recommendations made by the UN.
Are these recommendations going to require any sacrifices from the citizens of the individual countries?
Sure, they're going to require sacrifices, particularly from business people. Well, where business has to cut back a bit, I think there are limits to growth. They're going to involve sacrifices to everybody. We just cannot take it for granted that all the pleasures we enjoyed at one time are here now. I think there's a great leveler, this pollution bit. I mean, it suddenly realized that we are, as Lady Jackson said this afternoon, planetary citizens. And this is the finest expression I've heard yet, because it makes us just one, you know.
But one of the things about the conference I'm pleased about is that the environment issue is not being looked at entirely or even largely as a pollution issue. It has wider dimensions. And this is coming out, you know, human settlements, natural resource management, better social programs. And this is, I think, what the developing countries were very anxious to emphasize, that it's not just the pollution problem, but all these other human aspects. And I think this conference is beginning to reflect that.
Oh, it's certainly the greatest thing that has happened in history, I think. I mean, I don't think that anything has affected the thinking and actions of so many people as this conference. To me, it has been a success in that it has already disturbed the conscience of many, many people who were quite indifferent to the destruction of our planet. You know, millions of people now realize for the first time that there are limits to growth, and that the planet is limited to what it can do and to the number of people it can serve. And we have suddenly found a common denominator right here, I think, on this.
But what I want to know is, how can you tell a businessman in the United States that he has to slow down and not expand? Is that part of it?
Children are going to tell him. I think the children, the up-and-coming generation, are making it pretty difficult for business people, you know, in their homes. And I think this is good, because they say, look, you know, this is not good to have 3 or 4 cars in our family polluting the atmosphere. This is not good to have 2 or 3 color television sets and electric toasters and so on. And the kids are from very well-to-do families in the United States and Canada are going home and getting this message through. It's the younger generation, it's your group that's going to save the world, not us. We've had it.
But we can't even get into. This is the only time we're allowed to come to the conference. This big banquet. They lock us out at the door.
Really? Even with this green card?
Oh yeah. You can get into the building, but you can't go into.
I see.
There's no input.
Yes.
Ja, det var bara alltså de talade om att det här pappret finns, det blir en konferens över ett med amerikanska delegationer. I övrigt, det här med antal delegationer stod ju förändrat från igår. Ja, en enda faktiska uppdelning.
Too early.
Is it too early? When do you think you'll know?
After tomorrow.
Did you participate in the African Council yesterday, in the morning and in the afternoon?
No, I arrived only yesterday.
Oh, I see.
Last night. So it's too early for me to tell you anything.
Yes. Do you expect that? Do you have high hopes for what can come out of this conference in a general way?
We are greatly disappointed in what happens at some of these international forums and conferences. But what alternative is there? There is no alternative. We simply must sit together, and however many times there is failure, we must try that next time there is a better success.
We have to judge our success or failure here on what kind of a world will be produced as a result of what we do or fail to do here in the next decade or two. And this depends most of all on the publics. That the environment issue has arisen because of deep interest at the grassroots of the public. The public attitude towards the environment issue and the public attitude towards what happens here at Stockholm is going to be absolutely crucial in the decisions taken by the governments here, and in particular at the follow-up of these decisions.
Oh, gonna have a good time, serving the Lord. We're gonna have a good time, serving the Lord. We're gonna have a good time, serving the Lord. Good time, serving the Lord. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time, serving our brothers. We're gonna have a good time, good time.
Just enter the Swedish Environmental Protection Agency. There's a hush, sound of air conditioning, and footsteps on a long hall.
Hello, we're looking for Mr. Oslander.
Mr.
Oslander? Ulla Oslander.
Oslander?
Oslander.
Feel that when we come to 1974, July 1974, we will have solved all major industrial air pollution problems in Sweden. Of course, there will be also some problems after this time, but what is now thought to be the major problems will be solved at that time, definitely.
Really, the crux, the origin of the pollution of the atmosphere, of the environment, is not so much in the sulfur content or in the mercury content. They are effects. The solution, the origin of the problem is that we have developed a personality and a type of society which looks only to itself. And if it looks elsewhere a little, it looks only because it is in its own interest. I would like to share with you this thought that the problem is so global, so deep-rooted, that merely handling at the surface will not stem the rot. We have to go in a different dimension. Our attention has to be turned 90 degrees. We have not to move on the superficial, horizontal level of spotting the problems and trying to have either a solution or a patchwork of solutions, whether it be in a systems approach or a multidisciplinary fashion. They are mind's best attempts at trying to comprehend what is essentially global. We have to go inward or upwards.
Because there are too many times when we eat and drink and use electricity when we're merely amusing our bodies. The earth was not created to amuse us. The earth does not belong to the people. The people belong to the earth. Belong to the
The revolution! For Jesus! Revolution! Holy Ghost! Fire! Holy Ghost! Ground! Vietnam!
Pressure should be made in order to stop the flow of weapons in Vietnam, either by the United States or by other countries, whether it's capitalist or socialist. But that can be done only when there is already a commitment by the United States to withdraw in a certain period of time, and the cessation of the killing. I'm not talking about North Vietnam, South Vietnam, and then for Saigon. I'm talking about the people in Vietnam whom I know. Those people who are dying every day, who are suffering every day. I'm talking in their for their sake. And if you want to ask me the question as what they want the most, is that you stop bombing, you stop the killing, stop the killing. And then if we are alive, we will pursue our struggle for other things like human dignity, freedom, independence, and so on. But if you think that we have to go on fighting and dying, you are wrong. I don't think that it is only the American government that is responsible for the war. Most of you know that the political economic system there has been causing things like war in Vietnam. That is why in not doing anything about that system and only demand the government to do everything, that is not enough. And I'm afraid that even if you get another new president, he may be doing the same thing as the present one. That is why for the people to re-examine their life, themselves, to know whether they are participating in the strengthening of the present military economic system in the United States is a very crucial point. If you continue to support that system, continue to consume, continue to live that way, and then you cannot say that you are not responsible. You are upholding the government in doing things in Vietnam.
For changing this society into a society where it's the needs of the people are what decides the development and not the profit of the people who own the money and so on.
What are the needs of the people?
Well, there are immense needs of the people, but I mean, like having a place to live and food to eat and meaningful things to do, so on.
What do you mean by meaningful?
Well, that are useful or you enjoy them and you don't hurt somebody else. Worthwhile, I don't know, it can be different for different people, but maybe that people enjoy it, maybe, I don't know.
I agree.
Possibly we have enough resources in the world for everybody's needs. We don't have enough for people's greeds.
One of the things that a lot of young people that I've been talking to here feel, and it's something that I personally believe in, is that the problems possibly could be one of consciousness and changing people's consciousness and attitudes toward other individuals. And in some way it has to work on that level as well as the governmental level.
If we could just get through our heads a beautiful line in Aldo Leopold, Sand County Almanac. We are all fellow creatures in the odyssey of evolution. If we get that through our silly heads, we could answer the whole thing. But we know we have this splendid arrogance that speaks of special creation and special this and special that. And we're the worst species on earth.
Capable of the worst and yet capable of the best if we would.
He said that humanity is like is a big body, and he said that when we've got this body, humanity functioning in a very healthy state, then all these sicknesses which we know as poverty and feeling down and all these bad feelings will just disappear, because we'll have a healthy body, which is humanity, and all the smaller things inside it will of course be functioning healthily.
The idea is to conserve energy. That's the just a minute. Now, is it possible? Okay, now let's get this out of this circle and let's talk about it out of Stockholm, and let's talk about it involving the whole Earth. Okay, now what we've got is we've got to conserve energy. We're using too much energy for electricity. We're using too much energy for heat. We're using too much energy for packaged goods. Okay, so maybe we can have an alternative lifestyle here where we burn wood, which is a much better fuel than using coal or oil, which takes billions of years. Okay, maybe people should maybe stop smoking cigarettes, because how can you love a person when he's hurting himself? We know all we're operating on is the knowledge that we have from past man's history. All the knowledge that we've ever gained is what we have to act on. We have to take our own initiative to look at all the things that we can possibly look at and choose. Now, we know that there are a few activities that are not good for us as individual bodies. We know there's a few things that we can't do as a group, such as use too much energy. And
I believe cancer and all these things are mainly energy blockage. When the energy is really working in the body manages to cleanse itself. When concentrations of matter begin to build up, whether it's zinc poisoning or mercury poisoning or too much white sugar, you begin to get trouble. All right, so anyone who's into like total body culture is not only going to know how to eat, but they're going to know how to keep the energy working in the body.
Simply to know that you can live with yourself and with your planet, your Mother Earth. I think this in itself is a great lesson that more of the so-called progressive industrialized nations should learn. And we are here to give you the message that we brought from the Western Hemisphere and hoping to share it with the rest of the people here. That is, life is very important. We should walk with beauty. Beauty before us, beauty behind us, beauty below us, beauty above us, and beauty all around us. I shall always walk in beauty is the philosophy of our people. And this philosophy is what brings us here, to share it with you.
I think the best thing that we can do is for us at home to set the example. We're 6% of the population of the world, using up 50% of its resources. We're the people that have to set the example.
Thank you.
when you're living in the country and living close to nature, you have respect for the ground because it's providing for you. But when you live in big businesses, you know, in the big places, and you have big businesses and stuff like this, they lose respect for the ground, you know, they lose respect for the trees. And these are the things that provided for it, you know, in the first place. And they've lost respect for it. And in losing respect for Mother Earth, you lose respect for yourself. And in losing respect for yourself, you lose respect for fellow man, all the plants, the animals, no matter what they look like. You lose respect for life. And that's it. You're gone, you know, then there's nothing to do. So then you have to come along again and teach yourself respect. You have to teach respect for yourself and for your fellow man so that you can start to clean this up a little bit, stop what's going on.
Each individual was concerned enough to just clean up their own life, then it would change.
He'll be able to grow up with a little...
What do you think about the decision maker's position in all this? I mean, the people don't really make the decisions to stop or start war. Now, how do we get at the decision makers in this? I mean, they have a particular tendency to hit for war. How do we stop their stupidity?
Yes, it's bad in one way, but remember that's the way the forefathers laid out the Constitution and laid it right in his hands, and until we change that, we can't do much.
But yes, but this is the nub of the problem. No matter what we try to say about environment or war, the thing goes on. Now, how do we stop this psychotic trend to war all the time?
I wish I knew. Because for 7 years I can't see why it's been going on. It just makes no sense. I was there in '66 and came back to brief Mr. Johnson when he was in the office. I told him what I saw then, that so far as I was concerned, all I could see in South Vietnam is why don't we get the hell out?
Yeah.
I mean, even the South Vietnamese, now they keep talking about how they're Vietnamizing it, how they're doing this and that.
Yeah, but you see how separate the decision-making is from the people. In the Amchitka test, millions of people objected to that. Whole countries said stop it. But no, the Amchitka test went on. It was a 5-megaton hydrogen bomb for murderous purposes, and the decision-making didn't change because of people's pressure.
Well, apparently we don't have enough pressure because come the presidential election time, who gets in?
Wow. Then the people must have their own parliament. We must have a people's resurgence of people's power in this thing. We've got to stop the decision makers who seem to be feudal lords instead of rational human beings.
Well, that means reorganizing the whole Constitution.
Well, if you have a government, you have a contract, a social contract between people and government. If the government don't live up to their social contract, then the people must reinstate another social contract. Yes. That's not revolution or change or anything. That's just fact. The power of the people must be reinstated instead of the power of the feudal people.
I agree. Now, how do you do it?
Well, you begin by saying one is life orientation, the other is death orientation. We must not have regressive leaders. We must have life-oriented leaders, and this must be the neat decision in the environment and the neat decision in war. It's life orientation.
Secretary General of the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment has just arrived to receive the resolution from the Skarpnack and the international community. We would now like to read this resolution in both English and Swedish. Could we have your attention, please?
Här kommer FNs generalsekreterare Maurice Strong och talar. Och vi kommer att till honom överlämna en resolution som folket på Skarpnack har totat ihop tillsammans med indianerna. Varsågod.
To the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment and all concerned. Resolution number 86A. Okay. A 10-year moratorium to the United Nations Conference on Human Environment and all concerned. Resolution number 86A. A 10-year moratorium on the killing of human beings. We, the people of the world, who recognize no national or international boundaries, borders, access restrictions, or ownership of our mother, the earth, do propose that, whereas the United Nations has assumed responsibility for the preservation of species in danger of extinction, and whereas the United Nations Conference on Human Environment has already adopted a resolution calling for a 10-year moratorium on the killing of whales, and whereas the human race is a species so endangered by political violence, industrial poisoning, social regimentation, territorial competition, apocalyptic weaponry, hunger, greed, etc. And whereas the only way for the human race to survive this century is for us to stop killing each other. Be it resolved for a trial period of 10 years, beginning July 1st, 1972, all people of the earth and all governments purporting to represent these people, be they tribal, local, national, or international, recognize Homo sapiens as an endangered species and joyously proclaim a 10-year moratorium on the hunting, killing, and environmental poisoning of human beings.
All I can say is my warmest thanks to you for this message, which I hope will get through to the whole world. I love your message. I hope the whole world will love it and embrace it. And I must I feel a sense of love in this meeting, which I hope will permeate all the meetings in which I'm participating.
is lacking is not the morality, but the lack of information to put into the grist of the mill of the country.
Syracuse?
Yes, how to say?
Number for the Ecology Action Center.
What is it?
The Ecology Action Center.
One more turn. How are you spelling it, sir?
E-C-O-L-O-G-Y.
E-C-O-L. Nothing like you, sir.
There's no ecology anything.
Anything.
How about conservation agency?
The United States government, you mean?
Either that or by itself.
This has been prophesied too, that we will come together someday in this manner in foreign countries, so that we can solve our problems together, so that we may not destroy ourselves.